Welcome to our coverage of the Queensland Cup. From Toowoomba, the preliminary final with the Clydesdales taking on the Burliegh Bears. And it's pretty miserable conditions, unfortunately, here at Toowoomba, but a tremendous match coming up. So much to play for. The winner goes into next week's grand final where they take on Redcliffe. The losers' season for 2001 comes to an end. Let's have a look at last weekend's semi-final results, and we see how we finished up with these two teams in the preliminary final. And in the elimination semi-final, Burliegh beat the East Coast Tigers 30-23 to bring an end to the season for the Tigers, and Burliegh staying alive. Redcliffe, an upset, beating Toowoomba 20 points to 10 to march straight into the grand final, meaning, of course, that Toowoomba now take on Burliegh here. And David Wright, two very good teams, pretty hard to decide which way you'd go.
Yeah, very tough, Jerry. The only thing is Toowoomba, they copped a battering last week against Redcliffe, and guess what? There'll be no respite today. Very physical Burliegh side, also very expansive game Burliegh plays, so Toowoomba will have to be at their best this afternoon. Bit of bad news for them there without their captain Damon Keating, who couldn't back up after last week. It's almost like losing Shane Webke if you were the Broncos, the big man up front. But there is some good news that Brent Tate, the brilliant young centre, after playing for the Broncos the last couple of weeks, is back in the side. But the biggest news today is Casey Maguire, who sat on the line last night for the Bronx, wasn't needed against Cronulla. He actually is eligible and will play this afternoon. It'll bring about a couple of positional changes, so they'll be really at their best form, Toowoomba. I think they'll give a good account of themselves. As Jerry said, preliminary final, there is nothing more heartbreaking than to lose a preliminary final. We're in for a great game.
Thanks, David. And Warren, Burliegh Bears have been playing well at the right time of the season.
Well, they have been, Jerry, particularly last week. A good win over the East Coast Tigers, 30 points to 23. Mind you, the week before, they were hammered by Redcliffe in the first of their finals campaign, so a little bit hard to track the form of Burliegh, but what I do know is that on paper they look very strong. Very strong forward pack, and a lot of experience there with Shane O'Flanagan and Adam Cook in the front row, Billy Dunn in the second row. Hudson Smith is out. That's a blow to them. But look at the halves. Adam Hayden and Grant Adamson, both experienced, both calm in a crisis, both with good kicking games. So they've got the right game for these conditions. Big in the forwards with that kicking game in the halves. Mind you, as David said, Toowoomba will be very good today too, so it should be a great game.
And on their home ground, the Toowoomba Clydesdales, it's make or break.
Kurt Reynoldsson leads them out in place of Damon Keating. It is a good, strong side. Ken McGuinness, who had a great game until injured during last week's matches at fullback. Quinn and Duggan on the wings. Irwin and Tate in the centres. Casey Maguire, the guy who sat on the line for the Bronx last night but didn't play, comes in at 5'8", alongside Justin Murphy. Reynoldsson friend Christian Robinson, he's the man in there in place of Damon Keating. Ingram, Carriage, that's an interesting switch of Paul Carriage into the back row, and then locking the scrum, of course, is Neil White. It's a good side. Kurt Reynoldsson, as we say, he will captain the side this afternoon. They will miss Damon Keating. And also bad news, of course, for the people who watched the game last week, that Bampton is unable to take his place on the field, and that knee injury doesn't look too good for Danny Bampton. But all the best to Danny Bampton. Reasonable little crowd here this afternoon, even though the conditions are poor.
And Burliegh, Grant Adamson leading them out, the very experienced Grant Adamson, and just jogging out onto the field with big Shane O'Sullivan behind him. He really is a big man. And they're the lineup for the Burliegh Bears, with Horsful at fullback, Lenihan and Kennedy. They've got pace out wide, Shaw and Burke in the centres. Very important halfback combination of Hayden and Adamson. Up front, they've got power and strength with Cook and O'Flanagan, and O'Connor, of course, the hooker, Ali Brown, and interesting Bill Dunn coming back into the second row, and Tony Gray at lock. Grant Adamson, the captain, and he's a great organiser, a tremendous player, and really has been a wonderful asset for the Burliegh Bears over many, many years. The referee is Rob Alexander.
Oh, God, I was hoping we wouldn't stand around for too long like this.
And Rob Alexander, I don't know whether you were able to hear that comment, but he was hoping that they didn't have to stand around, because as you can see, it's pretty cold and wet and miserable for this preliminary final in Toowoomba.
Someone's forgotten the sand out in the middle, and that's, of course, the reason for the delay. Here it comes. And we await what should be a terrific game of football. As we say, preliminary final. The loser ends up going oh so close to the thrill of grand final week, and also grand final day, and of course then the chance to win the premiership. So there's a lot.
Okay.
And that is the whole season hanging off this match.
Greg Burke will kick off for Burliegh, and Toowoomba has the first use of the ball. Toowoomba in the predominantly blue colours, running right to left on your screen, and the captain, Kurt Reynoldson, takes the ball forward and takes it well. Just up short of the 20-metre line. Well, looks like they're going to spread the ball and spread it early. Interesting decision by Toowoomba, especially given these conditions. And they didn't really make too much ground there as McGuinness tries to run from dummy half, picks up just 1 or 2 metres. This time getting in a dummy half, Nathan Friend is able to swing it away to Kirk Reynoldson. His second hit up in just a couple of tackles. And now an early kick as well coming from Toowoomba from inside their 30-metre line. It's not a bad kick either. It's going to roll close to the touchline, close to the 20-metre line, and beautifully flicked back inside there by Burliegh. So a good kick and effectively kept alive by Burliegh. There it is again, and wonderful work by Chris Horsfall. He looked like he was in real trouble, got it back inside to Kennedy, and Kennedy was able to keep it alive for Burliegh. That was pretty skillful stuff there, that's for sure. Down on the sideline, Warren Boland. Not the day to be on the sideline, Warren.
No, not at all, Jerry, and the players are going to have to watch their handling, not just because of the rain, but in the warm-up, a few drop balls because of the cold fingers as well, and there's a ball spilling out now, picked up by Burliegh. It'll come back for the lost ball by the Bears, and now a penalty, in fact. But the wind, just hard to gauge the direction. It looks almost as if it's a little behind Toowoomba in this first half, maybe blowing to the far side of the ground, unlike last week.
Well, you tell me, he pulled the ball
So
out.
Grant Adamson will be kicking for touch.
I didn't see it.
Ball there coming free. I'd say a touch judge has given the referee that late call. Great chance for Burliegh to go straight on the attack.
Yes, so Adam Hayden is going to take the tap. So they're inside the 30, and Adam Cook takes it inside the 20. So wonderful position now for the Burliegh Bears, and they get another penalty.
You're just leaning all over the top of him. I want you off.
Leaning all over the top. Toowoomba realising that they've got to slow this big side down. A bit of a high tackle as well. I think that was Ingram who came in high. Well, now Burliegh with another chance. So they're going to take 2 points here.
Well, they can go for goal.
It is a preliminary final, and here comes the sand boy. So he's getting plenty of work early, the young fella with the sand. Once for the kick-off, and now in the first couple of minutes of the game, an opportunity for Burliegh to come up with 2 points. And here in the Duncan Thompson stand, you can just see the rain coming down in front of our camera lens, but those people are quite dry. Great tradition of this athletic oval. We actually was in the committee room before the match, and some great old photos there, Jerry, of this ground dating back almost, I guess, 100 years.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating, that's for sure. And Greg Burke, the 2001 Athletic Oval, and he'll be looking to make this a memorable day for him, see if he can help get his team into a grand final. Kicking will be important, because given these conditions, it's important to come up with them, and he's kicked a good one for a start. So 2 points to nil in favour of Burliegh after a penalty goal to Greg Burke.
2 penalties in a row, assisting Burliegh to get down there and then put that 2 points over. Handy to have the penalties run your way in these big games.
Well, as soon as I say held, that's it. That's
boost in morale too for Toowoomba, finding out that Casey Maguire was going to play with them. Apparently the camp, when they told this morning, all their faces lit up. Casey Maguire playing pretty well at the NRL level when given the chance recently, particularly in defence.
Yes, and you've come with a lot of confidence as well, having played in recent weeks with the Broncos, as has Brent Tate. So Tate, he's a brilliant young centre. We're also enjoying, and another holding down. Want to be a bit careful here, Toowoomba.
Be quicker.
A message coming fairly clearly from Rob Alexander that he wants a quick, clean play the ball.
Speaking of Brent Tate, we've seen him do some very exciting things in the Queensland Cup, and it was interesting in that when he went up to the Broncos and played against Canberra, even though the Broncos had a miserable day, he made one particular run which was outstanding and showed tremendous speed.
A lot of ability. Now Burliegh straight on the attack. Tony Gray throws the dummy. See, that's Gray dropping into dummy half now.
Yeah, Dean Allen wearing the 16 jumper, making that previous run.
Flanagan tries to bust his way through. And the blind side, back on the inside, Hayden throws it nicely. Hawk tackle, so Burliegh having all the run of play thus far. Adam Hayden up there to Adamson, couple of plays in motion, back on the inside nicely to Gray. Being knocked down, was it knocked forward? I think so. So Toowoomba not getting much possession at all in the first 5 minutes, and it's allowing Burliegh to have the run of play. Just knocked down there.
Yeah, Christian Robertson was going for the ball but couldn't quite get it. So in the end, Burliegh does well. They end up with a scrum feed on the 20-metre line, so great attacking opportunity for the Burliegh Bears now. Allen's flicking the pass away. Good work there by Jimmy Lenihan, just showing the ball and take it inside the 20. Can Burliegh finish this off? Great chance to see if they can score an early try, but there's no way through on that far side. But still, they're only 10 metres or so short of the line as it's played now. And going forward goes Dean Allen, pushing off one. Friend was trying to grab hold of him. He was palming him away. Now Jamie O'Connor, the dummy half. They'll spread it quickly. Dean Allen, little kick through. Oh, beautifully picked up by McGuinness. Adam Hayden's kick that was along the ground, and Kenny McGuinness superbly picked up with his toes. And immediately the Toowoomba boys have an opportunity here. We'll see this kick again, and look at the way McGuinness picks it up and then plays on. He's away. And Hayden actually running into the goalpost probably helped his cause a little bit. But you can see Toowoomba look like they're keen to spread it wide early in the match.
They are, because they're finding it difficult to get out of their own territory by going straight up the middle, although they really just got to do it anyway. They've got to do the job, although they're going to have to kick early in the tackle count. Steve Irwin, he's got a booming kick. Horsfall misjudges that completely, and the ball bounces another 20 metres in behind him. Great result this for Toowoomba. They've got out of their own territory, and they've got Burliegh right down the other end. That's only about 12 metres out from their try line when Horsfall finally gets tackled. Lenihan gets it up to the 20. Well, Toowoomba were desperate to get it, and another penalty going to Toowoomba here inside the 10 metres this time. And Burliegh, well, the red carpet is out.
The referee Alexander picking out Paul Carriage, playing in the forwards as the man being offside, but these penalties really hurting Toowoomba.
Adam Cook this time takes it up the middle. He's run strongly every time he's taken that settling ruck. He is driven back and put on his back, so they'll allow Toowoomba to reset their defence. Jamie O'Connor up there to Grant Adamson, to O'Flanagan. They get it to about midfield. Adamson slips back onto this right-hand side. He was the intended receiver, but instead Jamie O'Connor decides to go himself. Adamson was desperate for the ball. It's going to go to Hayden this time anyway. Cuts across, turns it back on the inside of Ali Brown. Ali Brown stands in the tackle, looks back there to Chris Horsfall. He's dangerous, he gets a little bit of room to move, spins around. But the defence finally converges to bring him down. That's the fourth tackle. Burliegh doing all the attack thus far, and it's normally being down this end of the park. Adamson up to Hayden. Hayden fires a long ball out there to Greg Burke. Burke thought he was through, just cut down a couple of metres out. Down a blind side, all too easy. That was, the gap was there, but he's just short. Just short. Kennedy it was who took the chance to go down the blind. It looked like it was open, and it was only some desperate defence that finally took him into touch. Not touch in goal. He went into touch before he hit the corner post, and that's why it was a changeover of possession.
With plenty of ball, Burliegh looking good at the moment. We've seen an offload from Ali Brown. We've seen out in the centres Greg Burke dangerous down the left side. They're showing good sides. Grant Adamson working the plays in the middle.
And Toowoomba carrying it out now. Darren Ingram up almost to his 40. Nice quick play the ball. Friend sending it back for the kick now. The kick coming from Steve Irwin. Not a bad one either. Bouncing across the 20 when Chris Horsfall takes it. Horsfall, well, the defence moving up quickly. That was good work by Brent Tate. He didn't give Horsfall a chance to try and step, and of course in these conditions you have to be careful about stepping as well. So Burliegh in possession just outside their own 30s. It's played to O'Connor and offloaded now. Good strong run here by Tony Gray. 10 short of the halfway. O'Connor again. He's got another good runner. Dean Allen this time, and Adam Cook was alongside him, but they kept the ball alive. But they might have. That was close to maybe losing it forward, but the referee said play on.
Very close.
Adamson will kick from dummy half, and that's not a bad looking kick. It's rolling towards the corner and in touch. Well, still about 10 metres out, but a good kick indeed from Grant Adamson.
Level head on his shoulders, Grant Adamson, plenty of experience too. Just stepped out of dummy half, realised after they were somewhat fortunate to pick up a loose ball that they just needed to keep the pressure on. That's what they've been able to do. They've been able to basically pin Toowoomba inside their own territory, Warren, and Toowoomba have had to resort to early kicks in the tackle count.
Yes, they've only been saved by that good pick up by Ken McGuinness, and Dan Kennedy falling just short of the line on the last a few tackles back. But now a chance. Can Toowoomba get out of this end of the field with their forwards? Can they make ground?
McGuinness runs out of dummy half. As we said, he had a great game last week until he suffered some sort of injury that really debilitated him. Good bust that time against Kirk Reynolds, straight through the line, fullback to beats Horsfall, can he go all the way, support back on the inside beautifully. It might be Steve Irwin, I think, or Damien Quinn it is. What a bust by Toowoomba. Well, we're wondering how they're going to get out of their own territory. The way you do it is bust the line wide open and then get to the support of a flying winger.
Well, we saw Kirk Reynolds have a couple of hit-ups in the opening set of 6. He's obviously keen to lead with example, and what a fantastic run. Not only did he have the power to bust through, but he also had the speed to set it up then, and Damien Quinn doing what all wingers should do, support the man that makes the break, loom up alongside them. He was there as the support player that Reynolds needed. Here goes Reynolds, just crashes through the defence of Adam Hayden into the clear. Then he's looking, what are my options? Where's the support? Looks, sees Quinn able to grab the ball. It was open spaces then, and a very delighted Damien Quinn goes over for the Toowoomba try. So Damien Quinn scores for Toowoomba, and now it's 4-2 in favour of Toowoomba, but the conversion from right in front by Quinn of his own try. He's got it okay, he's added the extras, and it's 6 points to 2 in favour of Toowoomba.
Smart running by Kirk Reynolds, and there were big forwards all around, but he picked out the 5'8" Adam Hayden, who is a bit more of a grabber rather than a hitter in defence, and goes straight through him. Nice little step as well there from Reynolds. Gets away from another, comes to the fullback, steps away from him. In these wet conditions, the man with the ball has the advantage, and Quinn perfectly positioned, backs up down the middle. That's a very good try against the run of play and against possession, you would have to say.
And one that I'm sure that Rick Stone wouldn't be overly impressed with, the Burliegh coach. The fact that he made those early breaks and wasn't brought down. So now Burliegh again running the ball out, as they've done quite a deal, and almost another break here. Good run certainly by Neil Wyatt. Tackled 25 out from his own line. They're using this short side. There's not a lot of room there. Paul Carriage going back infield. Adamson was over the top, and Cook was underneath him. Kirk Reynoldson, after making that good break, he'd be puffing right now, but he's obviously very determined to have a good game. Big kick here from Steve Irwin, high in the air, pressure on Horsfall, and he's put the ball too. Chance for Toowoomba, regathered here by Darren Ingram. So they're 20 metres out. The Clydesdales can score again. Greg Tate brought down from behind, slips a pass away. Try coming up. Steve Irwin's in.
You happy with that grounding?
Irwin scores for Toowoomba, and referee Rob Alexander just checked for a moment with the touch judge and said, "You happy with that grounding?" He said yes, and Steve Irwin has scored try number 2 for Toowoomba, and the Clydesdales are galloping away to a 10-2 lead.
Booming kick again, high ball, almost a bit of pressure there on Steve Irwin, caused the ball to go a lot higher, and that meant Horsfall had to come forward. He was always going to be in trouble, pressure coming on him as well. Picked up quickly there. Quick play the ball, you don't need to panic too much there. And interestingly enough, Tate decides to punch a right-hand side. They could have gone either way. The players were still hurrying back. Tate knocked to the ground, up again. Advantage play. Steve Irwin on the spot to only just get in the corner in the end. But all of a sudden, Toowoomba, who suffered for a couple of tries against the run of play in the match here last week, have been able to capitalise on the only 2 opportunities they've had. They've gone bang, bang and scored tries. And that very high ball, I mean, they're just absolute horror conditions for any fullback this afternoon. Drizzling rain, bit of breeze, greasy conditions underfoot. And Irwin's got a big boot, and he hoisted it. Horsfall was always going
down there chasing for Toowoomba. He gathers possession in. Tate goes from dummy half. 6s and 7s the defence. No one's onside. Tate realises the opportunity's out wide, and there they are to finish it off. Steve Irwin, who'd kicked that ball, is there in support from the left wing across to take it and score a very useful try.
Yeah, tough conditions for the fullback in Horsfall, whether you stand deep or whether you come up a little bit, but that high ball was always going to be awkward. Tate does get tripped over. There would have been a penalty if they didn't score it, and Irwin there on the spot to go on with the job. and that got them out to a 10-2 lead. So they were looking pretty good at that stage, but you'd have to say tries that were really coming from a long way out. Bit of luck in them, but the next try had no luck at all, but it certainly was again from a long way out. It had the big forward in Michael Carey, who didn't start this match, came off the bench, pops the pass up. They realised the gaps are on the outside, quickly through the hands. Little flick on here to make sure Casey Maguire's got a little bit of room to move, and then out to Tate. This guy doesn't need much, throws the dummy, lets the winger go, and then the pace to get away from the sliding cover defence. McGuinness, who was very keen to get up there and back up, quick hands back on the inside to Quinn, and then Maguire, who'd handled in that movement, backs up nicely to score. That's a great team try.
Yeah, don't underestimate the importance of having Casey Maguire to keep them organised out there. That's an excellent offload from Curry, twisting, pumping the pass out. Reynoldson to Carriage, and this is touched on, I think it was Neil White, a very important piece of play there, onto Maguire, and Tate sets off downfield. Everyone around Tate positioned himself well here. Damien Quinn's on his right, comes back inside and makes himself available after Ken McGuinness, who'd streamed down the middle, got the pass on to Quinn. Plenty of players supporting the ball carrier. Casey Maguire, unopposed, strolls in for a try, but that was beautiful handling, great running, but it all started with the offload from Curry. Before that, there'd been 2 offloads by Burliegh which had gone to ground. Curry made that offload stick, and it makes such a difference to the team.
Sure does, and Toowoomba just decide with that great attack out wide, they can capitalise on a ball that's just popped out the back, and they change the point of attack. Burliegh struggling at this stage, obviously, down 16 points to 2. They needed to keep a bit of pressure on. To their credit, they started to hold a bit of ball. They forced a goal line drop out. Ryan Gundry's had a great game in the first half, either sweeping at the back from a hooker position or running out of dummy half. He put them on the attack. Then big Steve Parsons looked like he was going to score it himself as he really took this ball on the fly, tries to bump out of a couple of tackles, stands in the tackle, brushes out of a few. This is what Burliegh will try and do in the second half, using their big men. Jeremy Schloss rushes in there, and a good quick play the ball by Parsons. He looks to the left, goes to the right, low and hard. The gate was open, and Burliegh got the try they desperately needed.
Well, Parsons has sucked in a few defenders here. Curry goes to ground. Carriage, number 3, playing in the second row, is on the ground. Over the top is the fullback, McGuinness. He manages to mark up, but Carriage just moves to the left, opens up that little hole, and too smart. Jeremy Schloss, awake to it, goes through it and over for the try. But in the lead up to that, there was the dropout forced against Toowoomba, and you've got to say Burliegh kept a very positive attitude in attack, offloading the passes, took them on in the forwards, and they earned that try.
Yeah, and I think they'll do exactly the same in the second half as well. There's so much hanging on this. The winner straight into the grand final against Redcliffe next week.
Nobody moves! You were scared.
We have to stop meeting like this.
You bloody idiot! You're telling me I've just interviewed a dead man?
The Bill, Tuesday and Saturday at 8:30 on ABC.
Had a long, hard day.
When it comes to comfort food, this is it. The real McCoy, or rather, the real McCoy. It's chicken soup.
We've got just the right tonic.
There are times when only mashed potato will do.
Nigella's back with food for the soul.
So you eat this, you know the world is a better place.
And whips up a very wicked chocolate cake.
But we are talking deep, deep pleasure.
For pure food ecstasy, Nigella Bites, Wednesday at 8.
Pop music is wide open these days.
In the last gasp of the 20th century, the key word was diversification.
She's just got better and better, reinvented herself.
I use the word grunge in relation to the scientists in interviews quite a bit.
You could do it in the bedroom.
First up, we've just got a drum beat going. We'll add a drum loop.
Some even swapped school for success.
And the winner is Silverchair.
That sounded pretty good to me. The series final, Long Way to the Top, Wednesday.
Welcome back to Athletic Oval at Toowoomba. Doesn't look too bad there, but it's pretty miserable conditions actually, with the rain coming down fairly constantly and the breeze blowing. And there you can see that rain. It's a good place to be sheltering up in the stand. And it's not the best of days for playing football. Coming up at full time here, we've got a wonderful netball match for you, and that's the grand final of the Dairy Farmers Cup, the Queensland competition. Tigers were the minor premiers. Cougars finished 4th in the premiership rounds, but they've really played some great netball in the lead up to this grand final. So that's one to look forward to, the grand final of the Dairy Farmers Cup, and that's coming up immediately at the conclusion of this. The lights are on here at Athletic Oval. Actually, I think they were on from the very beginning. It's a dull and miserable day, but it won't be dull and miserable for the team which wins this match. At 16-8, it's anybody's game, and they know that they have a great chance to be at Redcliffe next week for the grand final. The grand final being played at Redcliffe for the first time away from Lang Park because of the redevelopment of the Lang Park Stadium, and so Redcliffe, I suppose, will have an advantage given the fact that they're the first ones into the grand final. But you do know that whoever wins here will be fired up because you only get one chance.
Should be great atmosphere down there too next Saturday, Jerry. We expect a very big crowd down at Redcliffe. They've got terrific facilities to watch from down there with very nicely terraced mounds, so should be a great day. So if you can't watch it on ABC next Saturday, certainly if you're in the vicinity, get down there to Redcliffe for what will be a great grand final day. One of these sides will be there. This man who used to play for Redcliffe, and of course Burliegh have won a premiership in the last couple of years as well. So Grant Adamson would like nothing more than to return to his old stamping ground. I think a key for this second half is Toowoomba cannot have the lapses they had last week. They went to sleep a couple of times and let in a few tries. You've got to go to the wire.
Yeah.
Rob Alexander is happy to get the second half underway.
Right to go. We're just waiting for one bloke to get into position. Now we're right.
Second half underway with Toowoomba kicking off, and that's a fairly long kick too, but taken comfortably by Chris Horsfall.
Right,
and so Burliegh 15 metres out from their own line.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Only 8 points behind. If they can score an early try, they will certainly make this a game where it could be a nail-biting finish. And of course, in 40 minutes, anything can happen, and the desperation starts to come in as well, as you know that your chance of playing in a grand final or your chance of finishing the season all is looming right in front of you. So Billy Dunn caught just short of the 40 as the kick will come now from Hayden right down the throat of Kenny McGuinness, and he's been able to build up a bit of pace too. Suddenly finds himself cornered. So as Kenny McGuinness takes the tackle 15 short of halfway, the Burliegh coach Rick Stone is on the sideline with Warren Boland.
Rick, that was an important try just before half-time to stay in contact.
Yeah, it certainly was. In these conditions, you can't afford to let the Clydesdales get away too far. I think a couple of lapses in concentration allowed, Toowoomba to score those 3 tries, and it's something that, is disappointing, I suppose, but we can't worry about it too much. Now we're within a try away, and hopefully we can put the next points on the board.
Are the players finding it slippery?
Yeah, a little bit slippery, but they're not complaining too much. They're happy enough with the surface out here, considering it's a bit drizzly. I don't think anyone's got any excuses, mate.
What improvement are you looking for in this second half?
Well, probably a bit more patience in attack. Midway through the second half there, we just lacked a little bit of patience, and we tried to force the ball on early tackles and probably let the pressure off the Clydesdales a little bit. And if we can just maintain a bit of pressure and finish off our sets a little bit more productively with our kick, that'll maintain some pressure as well.
We've just seen a bit of a problem there for Jimmy Lenihan against the kick in the first half. Chris Horsfall had a few problems from those long kicks. Anything you can do there?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, the conditions are difficult for a bloke like Horse, and not being a regular fullback, he's struggling a little bit. But all he can do is hopefully get the ball on the full as often as he can and make a decision quickly about whether he's going to catch it or let it bounce.
Good luck, Rick.
Thanks very much, Warren.
Great attacking opportunity now for Toowoomba as Steve Irwin is caught very close to the line. They're only about 6 or 7 metres out. Ilya Takiri finds a man backing around, and I think that was Cieslawski. So he takes the tackle just 5 metres short of the line. Takiri swings it away now, and Murphy can't get through, or Kenny. He was almost away. Ali Brown, last minute tackle around the legs. Darting towards the line, maybe a chance here as it's picked up again beautifully by Takiri. Look at the way he ducked low to see if he could crawl his way through, but unable to do so. So it's the Toowoomba Clydesdales. If they can open with a try here, they will be in a wonderful position to qualify for the grand final. Good run here by Michael Curry. Tackled only a couple of metres short of the line. So Curry to play the ball. Casey Maguire. Oh, that's knocked on by Dean Allen. And that's a good result for Toowoomba. They can maintain the pressure.
Back-to-back knock-ons here from Burliegh inside their own 10 as Toowoomba aren't finding a chink yet, but it becomes more and more difficult for the defending side as you get back-to-back sixes. Murphy to put it in, great attacking position, fires the pass up to McGuinness. McGuinness dummies, goes himself. McGuinness tries to get through, keeps on his feet as well, but and does pretty well to get within 5 metres. Good strong play the ball as well. They're keeping it alive up to Reynoldsson. The defence rushing up quickly though. Nice work from those defenders not to upend Reynoldsson even though they had him off the ground. Murphy the long pass out to Maguire. Maguire tries to pass to Keary. Keary's had the ball stripped from him. Play on.
Initial knock on. Initial knock on by Toowoomba. Initial knock on
coming from Toowoomba. So down on the sideline, the Toowoomba coach is Kevin Walters.
Kevin, a chance goes astray there, but they're playing some pretty good football.
Well, we are. We've scored a couple of good tries, which was pretty good, I suppose, but there's still I'm still pretty nervous at the moment, I can tell you.
What areas of improvement are you after?
Well, just when we're coming out of our half, a couple of times there we handed the ball over and presented them some opportunities, so the conditions are difficult, but I think we can do that a little bit better.
Down in the penalties 5-1, they were hurting?
Well, they were, but sometimes that's the way footy goes. I thought we held in there pretty well on occasions when we were penalised, so I suppose that's an area too where a little bit of concern.
Any particular tactics for this second half?
No, not really with the conditions. We just got to, get the right field position and hopefully, we get our kicks away and get some good field position down there and come up with a couple of tries.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Jeremy Schloss there, tackled after being able to get up and run again, just 5 short of the halfway. Grant Adamson now outside the 40, got a good kick, and that ball bouncing okay for Kenny McGuinness. There's a wall of players there at the 20, but he's almost able to run around them and slip the pass to Damien Quinn close to the touchline. You've got to be careful close to the touchline in these slippery conditions. Brent Tate now. Well, there you can see just how the slipperiness can affect your stepping. And Tate losing his footing, but able to get back to his feet. Finally caught by Billy Dunn. Duggan in a dummy half. Kirk Reynoldsson with a nice offload. They're 15 short of the halfway mark. Duggan in a dummy half now. That's Darren Ingram. That's the 4th tackle for Toowoomba. So a dart from dummy half here by Casey Maguire, showing the ball and taking it 10 into Burleigh's territory. Duggan's a dummy half. They're looking towards the left. That's the way they're going to attack. Murphy's kick is not a bad one. There's nobody home down there. Good chase for the ball. Chance still for Toowoomba, but it's got into touch, but off whose hands?
I have to check with his touchy to get the call.
He said off blue.
It's going to be a changeover to Burleigh after they're under a lot of pressure there. Last time off blue, perhaps it ricocheted around there a few times, so Burleigh now to get it out of their own territory again. They did pretty well last time to safely get it up the other end of the park. Very so important these early minutes of the second half. Neither side wants to meekly offer territory or possession. 4 for Toowoomba, an interchange, and 5 for Burleigh. So both coaches have been fairly selective thus far. Ali Brown can't get it up over the halfway line. Gundry drops in a dummy half. Pass up to Adamson. They're going to kick early in the tackle count, so they're showing their hand, and why wouldn't you? Steve Irwin back there quickly to pick it up. Tries to cut across the defensive line. Does so! That's Damien Quinn, I should say. Quinn gets it up over the 30-metre line. Good bust this. Puts Toowoomba straight on the attack. Tony Duggan loves running out of dummy half. Duggan goes straight through. Stands up the fullback and off ball. And away goes Duggan. Well, he might be wearing the number 6. He has been playing on the wing for most of this match. And Duggan with some brilliant footwork after Quinn, the other winger, busted the initial chase line. And Duggan races away and has some magnificent footwork to go all the way.
Well, he's been playing dummy half quite a deal in the last few minutes or so, and that was just one superb bit of football. Marvellous stepping. I think initially he probably thought, OK, might be time for a quick dart here and see how far I can get. Little did he know he was going to go 60 metres and put the ball down underneath the goalpost. Fantastic effort by Tony Duggan. There he is. Grab the ball, quick dart. Let's see how we go. Step here, step there. Off we go. Step left and right. Round the fullback and look around. Nobody home. Try coming up. Try to Tony Duggan. A vital one early in the second half to extend their lead now to 20 points to 8. And Damien Quinn should kick the conversion as well from right in front. and that will give them a handy 14-point lead.
Very disappointing that from Burleigh's point of view when they kicked early in the tackle count to try and play safety first. And forgot they had to take their turn at tackling. And Quinn converts the try. Very, very handy lead now for the Clydesdales.
And Quinn was the man who started it with that great run from his own line after collecting that kick. Here it is. He did the damage. Instead of being contained down this end, he steps back inside a couple out of the tackle. I think it was Dean Allen grabbing at him. Back upfield. A pretty quick play the ball here, and all the defenders still coming back onside. Steve Parson backing away. There he is, puts out a hand. May have been called offside even. Beautiful step from Tony Duggan. Brilliant footwork, and away he goes.
It was a great try, no doubt about that, but most importantly, it has given Toowoomba that really handy break, and Burleigh must be feeling pretty disappointed because they've had a couple of good kicks in general play and had Toowoomba right down on their own line, but what was it, one tackle, and they've taken it from their goal line to the try line.
It just shows you how potent this Toowoomba side is. They've scored 4 tries, all have been long distance. Burleigh have scored 1, and that was from dummy half, so Burleigh have to forget about these conditions now and start to play a more expansive game, which they're still capable of. They've got 14 points to make up, and that's not a problem with still over 30 minutes to go in the match, so they're well and truly plenty of time to still make the grand final. Casey Maguire decides to run it back to Tate. Tate rubbers it through the line, but he was well and truly covered. He was never going to be able to recover it himself. Ali Brown, they decide to keep it alive now. Gundry looked out wide, but thought the better of the pass. They've really got to get the steamroller out, Burleigh, and then start to throw it around. Slightly highest tackle there on Dan Kennedy.
Well, I think the steamroller's been there, you know, Flanagan and Cook and Parsons off the bench. Look, each of these guys carries about an extra 8 to 10 years and 10 kilos on his opposition forwards, but it's those small, fast men from Toowoomba have done the damage.
Adam Hayden back on the inside of Billy Dunn. He's knocked it on, so they can't afford that. They need near perfection now to finish this game as Tate picks it up and it's knocked over almost immediately. Damien Quinn, this will be tackle number 1. After you pick up a loose ball like that, the first tackle is 0. If it is from a knock-on as such. Suslowski steps back on the inside.
I think that wind's picked up as well, Warren.
It definitely has picked up, Jerry, but it's swirling around. It's hard to say what direction it's blowing, except more across the field than downfield.
Therefore, just make it more difficult, the conditions more difficult.
Very difficult, especially for Burleigh now as they try and get back into this match. Nathan Murphy up over halfway. McGuinness out of dummy half. They're going to punish them down that blind side. Little chip over the top could be interesting. Pass, the ball won't just bounce up, but he's kicked it forward, and it's just gone into touch.
Up to Toowoomba.
Well, they kept kicking on too, like a game of soccer down that left-hand side, but it will be loose head and feed to the Bears.
Yeah, Steve Irwin showing real soccer skills there.
Steve, that was a good one earlier on.
And there, he was trying to keep it alive, but he was standing outside the touchline as he did so. So this scrum on the 10-metre line in Burleigh's territory.
Hold it there, Toowoomba, hold it with the touchies.
22-8.
Hold steady, hold steady, hold steady. Hold steady. In you go, Darren.
Left.
Put it in, Grant. Yeah.
Adamson swinging it away. There's no way through there. That's Tony Gray was standing out off the scrum. And Burleigh with so much work to do. But you can see the enthusiasm in the defence of Toowoomba as well as Billy Dunn takes it forward. And I think Toowoomba realise that they're now very, very close to a grand final. There go Flanagan, tackled just short of his own 40.
There you go.
This one might be for Grant Adamson. Well, just showing the ball and taking it forward, Jeremy Schloss. That's the 5th tackle now. Well, they're going to run it. Ryan Gundry decides to kick himself, and it's not a bad-looking kick either. McGuinness, by the time he picks this up, and he'll have to play at it. No, it's got into touch. Beautiful patience there from McGuinness. He could see it was going to make it. It was just going to take some time, and that he did have enough time before the defence got through. So Ken McGuinness showing patience there, and of course Toowoomba get the scrum feed on their 10-metre line.
Yeah, and Toowoomba then can walk back to this and give his forwards a bit of a breather. McGuinness showing his experience. He could have elected to pick that up, but that would have meant just about his whole side would have been in front of him, and they would have to rush back, get a little bit of a breather. It was a very good kick there by Ryan Gundry, but having run the blind side on that last tackle, it looked to me like there was a half a chance for a full 6-tackle play. They had an overlap, but decided they just knock it down. You've got to start thinking about attacking at every opportunity shortly. There is no tomorrow after this game. Flanagan drives Murphy back.
There's plenty of experience in this Burleigh side. They won't panic. They know that they're still within contact as this kick is on the bounce and over the sideline. Just a steadying play from Toowoomba. So the experience in this Burleigh side should tell them that they're still in this game, but the cardinal mistake they made was to ever let this young Toowoomba side get ahead. That's where they like playing, from the front. It gets their confidence up. They can't be rattled when they're in front nearly as easily, and that's a problem for Burleigh. They have to catch them now.
And a lot of lessons for Toowoomba out of that game against Redcliffe last week when they were caught asleep a couple of times at the base of the scrum through intercept passes. So they really didn't play with the level of intensity you need in these matches. They've gone up a gear today and have looked a lot more solid. Having said that, as we keep saying, Burleigh's still capable of hitting back in this match. Shows the dummy. Gundry goes himself. Almost up to the halfway line. Finally gets up to play it up there to Adamson. Got a couple of players in motion. Fires it out to Jimmy Lenahan. Lenahan tries to bump away from Irwin. Can't do so. That breeze is really strong now. Adamson looks to pass, throws it up there, I think, to Dean Allen. Allen keeps it alive. Back there to Schloss, I think it was. But quickly back comes Neil White to pick it up.
Nick Shaw down.
It was Nick Shaw, yes.
And it makes you think you haven't seen a lot of Nick Shaw in the game. Hasn't got the ball all that often.
Meanwhile, Toowoomba in possession. Played there by Takiri. Carted forward here by Josh Hancock. On the field for the Toowoomba Clydesdales. Takiri a dummy half. Now they're going to spread it this time as Paul Carriage will take the tackle, still short of his own 40-metre line. Kenny McGuinness in a dummy half. Away to Murphy. Murphy looking to keep it alive, but that pass going backwards after it hit the ground. Steve Irwin on that far side. Still short of their own halfway line, still in their own territory rather. Casey Maguire's kick is well covered by Chris Horsfall, and he takes that well too. Horsfall, well, just can't find any hole in that defence. He had a good look, stretching across sideways to see if he could find a way through. He's a good run for Burleigh, and they're up to within 5 metres of the halfway line. Ryan Gundry appealing for him to be allowed up to play the ball, and that was Dan Kennedy who made that run. 5 metres now into Toowoomba's territory. Gundry again at dummy half. Hayden tracking, getting it out now to Nick Shaw. And Shaw tackled 8 metres in Toowoomba's territory. So not a lot of exciting attacking play from Toowoomba. Not that the conditions are ideal for that anyway. Shane O'Flanagan, that's the 5th tackle. So they'll want something here. Dean Allen tries a little bit of soccer. Still going, Allen. Can he regather the ball? Fumble there by Toowoomba. 6 to go. Great work by Dean Allen. He's regathered the ball 10 metres out. Here come the Bears. Can they score a try here? Hayden to O'Flanagan. The big man for the line. He's got the strength. Can he get it down? Close to the line. Held up just short.
Darren, get out.
Ryan Gundry's in a dummy half. They've got to watch him. He scored 1 try from dummy half. Hayden now out over the top and well taken there by Adamson. Now Chris Horsfall. He's tackled and they lost a little bit of ground that time, Burleigh. Jeremy Schloss. Schloss heading across field now, heading for the line. Kept alive beautifully. Hayden! Hayden's in! Burleigh score a try when they desperately needed it. They're back in the game. And still it is not finished. Adam Hayden scoring the try for the Burleigh Bears to make it 22-12.
Great work, Burleigh. All started from a little grubber kick from Allen. They got the restart of the tackle count. Jeremy Schloss goes straight through, pointed wide, shows plenty of strength there to keep the ball alive. Hayden realised the gap was there. He only had to go low and hard to get across. That's a fine effort from the Bears. Have a look at Schloss. Initially wanted to have a runner on his side and then bumped through a couple, flicked the pass out beautifully. Up there then to Adam Hayden, and Burleigh have hit back after they really haven't got too close to the line up until now. It took an enterprising play in the preceding set of 6 when Dean Allen just grubbed it through, regained it from a loose ball on the ground, and that was enough for Burleigh to go on with the job.
Greg Burke has a perfect record so far, and his perfect record continues 3 from 3, and now it is 22-14.
Yeah, a lot of confusion at the back as Ken McGuinness found Dean Allen coming through at him, kicking the ball twice and made it very difficult for him. Let's have a look at it. On the last play, Hayden almost got caught here. Adamson flicks it out wider, and Horsfall crossfield dummies to shore, still going. It's from this play the ball that Dean Allen gets it and gets a bit of luck as he puts the kick in. Or is it from this play?
No, this is the try coming up.
It was a little bit earlier than that, sorry. A little bit earlier there. It is great work from Jeremy Schloss. Out it goes to Adam Hayden backing up, and they finally caught them. But an element of luck there as McGuinness found Dean Allen coming at him, kicked it again. It came off his hands. They got 6 more when Allen dived on it. And good football by Burleigh. I said that they wouldn't panic, and they're back in the game.
Wouldn't mind betting Dean Allen's played a bit of junior soccer, because he certainly had those ball skills.
Might have been Gundry who was the link man from Schloss up to Adam Hayden too. So Gundry has been everywhere since he came off the bench fairly early in this game. And Burleigh now with the confidence to get right back into this match. Running now. They keep it alive well. There's Gundry again feeding off that short ball up there to Greg Burke.
Well, the urgency's building in this game.
And they've just got the attack to go on with it up there to Hayden, out to Adamson. Adamson fades across, decides to come back on the inside nicely. Up there to Dean Allen. Dean Allen brought down on the 4th tackle. Gundry into dummy half. This time up to Adam Hayden again. Looks back on the inside for his skipper, but couldn't get the ball away. That's the 5th. High ball will put plenty of pressure on. Up to Adamson. He's put it behind him. They've got to keep it alive.
Went back.
Flanagan keeps it alive. Does another little chip kick here. Does Dean Allen. He fell over though and picked up by McGuinness. Well, that's disappointing. The pass up to Adamson needed to be a good one so he could get a clean kick away. As soon as he lost it backwards, it was always going to be panic stations from there.
That was a crucial mistake because you just felt that Burleigh were building and for a moment had Toowoomba on the ropes.
And had they been able to score, they could have gotten it back to within just 2 points. So currently 22-14 in favour of Toowoomba. And whilst they kicked clear, all of a sudden the pressure is building on them again. So Josh Hancock taking it into Burleigh's territory. Important for Toowoomba to come back with another try now. Murphy with the offload then to Paul Carriage. 42 out on the 5th tackle. Duggan. And the kick will come from Steve Irwin, high in the air. This will be pressure on Schloss again, on Horsfall again, and he takes it well. So Chris Horsfall, 15 out from his own line, and the Burleigh Bears, they're the ones that have got to come up with the try at this stage. So they've got to get the ball out of where it is at the moment and see if they can get it down into Toowoomba's territory and come up with a try. They're 12 short of the halfway as Ryan Gundry offloads it. Adamson, no, it was Tony Gray. Tackle just short of the halfway line. The 2 shaved-headed men. Hayden's played well. He's looking for those gaps. He's going to the defensive line and he's creating doubt in the opposition's defence and unusual there, Grant Adamson.
Not only that, Jerry, he didn't dive on the ball. He's allowed them to have a quick, clean play the ball. As Neil White runs out of there, Grant Adamson's so disappointed. And I guess it was compounded by the previous time when the ball went past him. So 2 in a row, they've been unable to get a kick away at the end of the set of 6. And it's allowed Toowoomba to get back on the attack in an area of the park they love to play in. Albeit they haven't spent a lot of time in this area. That is in Burleigh's territory in this particular match. They've scored a lot of long-distance tries. I think Casey Maguire tried to run out of dummy half on the 4th tackle. Murphy up this time to Duggan. He's starting to look for a little bit of work up the middle. Carriage. 5th tackle. They got in their boxer tricks here. Up to Murphy. Flat, so the kick's on. Quickly comes across his Horsfall. He has to play at it, so that's a good kick. Well judged by, I think it was it Duggan or Murphy who put the little kick in. Yes, it was Nathan Murphy. Well judged.
What a good play. And contrast that with the 2 errors by Burleigh, which would let the pressure off. Instead, they're back on their line, dropping out.
We just heard one of the Toowoomba players say, let's go, as the dropout is taken, and here they do go. Big charging run here by Christian Robertson. Up to the 30-metre line. That's the 1st tackle. And they've got options left and right here. It'll go to the left, and there it's Josh Hancock. Picks up another 10 almost. Dart from dummy half here, 2 by Neil Wyatt. And the Toowoomba boys getting that much closer. Michael Curry, as he knocked the ball on there, he's just lost it forward. So that's a relief for Burliegh, because the pressure was building on them, no doubt about that. Michael Curry was the man who just lost the ball as he went to ground on that 10-metre line.
With Shane O'Flanagan over the top, certainly plenty of impact in the initial hit on the tackle, and then came down heavily to cause the ball to be dislodged. And Burliegh have done well to hold out there after the repeat set of 6. We'll need to get a good set of 6 in here again. Big Adam Cook, almost to the 20. Tony Gray, defence from Toowoomba moving up quite quickly. That's the third tackle, and they've only got it to still inside the 30. Adamson decides to go wide. Out to big Shane O'Flanagan. Tries to bump out of a couple. Does pretty well to make another 10 metres on the 4th tackle now. Not happy with it was O'Flanagan. Adamson out there to Hayden. Hayden throws the dummy, goes straight through. Horsfall back on the inside. He's got support of his captain in. Adamson throws the dummy. Probably just as well. Adamson was covered. Duggan makes a good tackle. It is the 5th tackle. Adamson set up on the left. He's going to take it. That looks to be a bit of a close shot here. Back there to Gundry. Long pass. Knocked backwards by Horsfall. No, Horsfall now will pick it up. In actual fact, Gray's first back there. Horsfall dropping back further. So they've lost about 20 metres. Horsfall decides to hoist it in the air. Damien Quinn's going to take this one. And Quinn does pretty well to spin around and come back another 10 metres up this right-hand side. The tackle made by Greg Burke. Coming down that blind side, sorry Jerry, there was a good wall of defence there from Toowoomba. You'd have to think options were better on the right. Once they came to the dead end, they were always struggling when they went back to the right then.
Well, you can understand the ugly football, but you can see exactly what they were doing, just trying to keep that ball alive to see if they could score a try on that 5th tackle, having decided to run with it in the first place. And Tate takes the tackle on his own 30-metre line. So that'd be disappointing for Burliegh. It was looking dangerous, and Hayden is the danger man. He's making too many breaks as far as the Toowoomba defence is concerned. They've got to watch him, and certainly he's done pretty well. And that's a good long kick there. Going back for Jimmy Lanahan. Will have it covered. He's going to have to play with it. So he links up with Horsfall. Gets the pass away now to Horsfall, and he's got his winger on the far side as well, but good defence, Tate. Great speed from Tate to get up there and to cut off anything before it might have gotten started. Dan Kennedy caught for Burliegh, 15 out from his own line, and they'll get a penalty. So this will get him away from that territory.
You're just lying there. I'm not going to have it.
What do we got? 15 minutes to go, 22-14, 8 points the difference there. Kennedy going to ground.
You can't just lie there, fellas.
And the man lying over the top of him was Neil Wyatt.
It's a big penalty, though.
Don't just lie there.
Long kicking game of Irwin has got Toowoomba out of jail a number of times where they've got it well downfield. Burliegh have got back out of jail themselves with that penalty, and will put them straight back on the attack.
O'Flanagan crosses the halfway. O'Connor at dummy half. The Irishman combining. Here goes Tony Gray, but look at that welcoming committee. Great defence. Wyatt was one. And I think that the other one might have been Christian Robertson. Hayden, will he step once more? This time electing to get it to Horsfall, back to Tony Gray. And here's a chance. Great run here by Jeremy Schloss in the clear. Needed support. Nobody there. Lost the ball. Grabbed by Darren Ingram for Toowoomba.
He looked the wrong way. Looked this side. He had Adamson on his right-hand side. Adamson's tried to back up every break that's been made in these last few minutes. Schloss, after that great break with an inside pass, up there to Schloss. Away he goes. And Striding and looks to the left, and then at the last minute back to that right-hand side. It was too late because McGuinness then had made the hit.
Yes, Steve.
And Toowoomba now with a penalty to get them out of trouble.
Burliegh had a hand in the tackle. The referee wouldn't allow it.
Fellas, I want you to make
the thing about the last few minutes is Burliegh has shown that they've got the capability to make breaks. They've just got to finish them off.
If they do, with only 8 points in it and still 13 minutes to go, we're in for a great finish. Burliegh can be the ones who score next. Murphy throws the dummy. Nathan Murphy straight through. Another long distance break. Beautifully up there to Carriage. Throws the dummy. Paul Carriage is going. No, yes. Ankle tapped it over. Another long distance bust. This time, the little man in the middle. What a cruel game this can be. As Toowoomba hit back with Nathan Murphy. And then Carriage throwing the dummy. I think Ilya Takiri thought he had the ball, carried through the dummy, and away he went.
And that try might be taking Toowoomba from the cool conditions of the mountains down to the seaside next Saturday afternoon, when they'll be taking on Redcliffe in the grand final. Wonderful work by Carriage. He only realised as he threw the dummy that all of a sudden he was clear himself, accelerated, wasn't sure if the cover was going to get to him. As David said, there wasn't a hand, just got to his ankle, but he was away. Here we see it again. Good run, and that pass back inside there by Nathan Murphy. And their Carriage showing the ball, then stepping, suddenly clear, aware that there was a hand touching him. I think it might have been Hayden who ankle tapped him, but he was able to score the try underneath the goal post, and that might well be the decisive try in the match. Still 12 minutes left though, 26-14 now, and Damien Quinn with the conversion from right in front. Again, that'd be frustrating for Burleigh, because they looked a couple of times as though they might score a try, and there's the conversion successful, and now it is 28-14. There Kevy Walters looks a little bit more relaxed than he was when Warren was speaking to him just after the half-time.
And Nathan Murphy here, smaller fast man on the big against the big Adam Cook. Little decoy runner on the inside, just held Cook up. Legs might be tiring. Here comes Carriage, and Greg Burke just on the outside had Carriage measured up, but a little dummy from Carriage put him in two minds, and away goes Carriage for what could be the match winner.
Good desperation there from O'Flanagan to haul Murphy down at the last minute. Oh, here's a changeover. Chance now for Burleigh, and they're going to spread the ball too, just 20 metres out from the line. Good strong run here. Can the Bears score a try immediately and bring this game alive once more? O'Connor's going to go on the short side. Dean Allen there has power and strength, but he can't get through. He's 5 metres out from the line. O'Connor, dummy half, O'Connor by himself. Can't quite make it. Just 1 metre short of the line. Dean Allen's the dummy half. If he gets to play the ball, does so now to Allen. Shot away on the right. Adamson for the line. Try to Grant Adamson. He's a master, a great general for this team, and he has finished off the comeback that Burleigh needed. They needed it urgently, and they did it urgently, and now it's back to 10 points, 28-18, 10 minutes to go.
The Bears will not lie down. Within 60 seconds of having a try that appeared to seal this particular match. Grant Adamson, the skipper, who was on the left-hand side of that play, the ball faded across to the right-hand side. He desperately wanted it. The defence was just a little bit thin there. He got there nice and early. Players in motion too allowed him to attract a few defenders away from him, and it was Schloss who's been everywhere. Jeremy Schloss. These guys are really trying to pull this one out of the fire, as you would. Of course, grand final next week. The whole season hanging on this game as the ball falls off the mound and the time clock is stopped for that particular reason. Greg Burke now to try and convert it. It'll still leave them, 8 points out of touch, even if he can convert this, but there's a stack of time to go in terms of the ability to overcome an 8-point deficit. 10 minutes or so left. Burke, it would be nice to convert this one though. He does so, puts it through, and Toowoomba have pressure right back on them.
Toowoomba losing the ball from the kickoff, opened the door for Burleigh once more. Smart play here. You'll see Jeremy Schloss on the outside. Adamson dummies to him. A couple of the defenders kept going. That opened it up on the inside, and through goes Grant Adamson. They're back again. But gee, they would have liked that try before Paul Carriage scored to get them within 2 points rather than now.
Okay, make that
better late than never, I suppose.
Well, 8 points in 8 minutes. It's certainly possible. 8 minutes is plenty of time to score 8 points, but you've got to do it. Shane O'Flanagan brings it out. Good strong run. He's played well, and he's tackled on his own 20. Adam Cook. All important now that this young Toowoomba team stay steady and keep the defence going. Dean Allen can't get through. Murphy the tackle. Ball and all. Effective, strong and good. Adamson. Cook. 15 from halfway. It's steady progress for Burleigh. O'Connor tries the kick. And off the feet of Takiri. He's got McGuinness alongside him. Here goes McGuinness now. Could be dangerous if he's allowed too much room. The tackle 5 from halfway.
Tactically by Burliegh, that was poor. They kicked early in the tackle count and they're behind on the scoreboard. Wasn't the best of kicks. And then the chase allowed McGuinness to get on their outside of their line. So really Burliegh have to be more enterprising than that at this stage.
Yeah, if they were going to kick, they may have at least tried for a 40-20.
Exactly. Michael Curry now. Good angle to run it back in the middle of the ruck. Rick Stone there looking on intently. He knows they're still in with a half a chance. Nathan Murphy, is it? Duggan, perhaps. Yes, it was. Tony Duggan. There's Murphy now. Hooks it back over his shoulder.
He's on.
Dangerous play. Has been dragged forward by Toowoomba and picked up then by Tony Gray at a second attempt.
Play the initial knock on by Toowoomba back here.
Knock on by Toowoomba, so no advantage accruing.
It's a Burliegh ball.
Loose head. It'll be a changeover
ready, come back.
For the knock on the last tackle. And now a work in front of them to go length of the field. The clock ticking down, only 7 minutes. They've got to score twice. Jimmy Lenahan. And therefore you need to hit the line and look for a bit of a gap. You've got to stand in a few tackles now and just have someone punching off the side here, coming out the other side, back up from everywhere. Shane O'Flanagan, can he stand? No, the tackle, yes, he does. Oh, well, he tried. The pass has been lost forward, and Quinn picks it up. Well, that could have been the chance. I don't criticise O'Flanagan there. He did have his hands free at one stage. Carriage, who has played most of the match, I think, in the back row, even though he's worn 3. He's played pretty well also. Michael Curry goes through, keeps it alive as well, up to Takiri. Takiri comes across the face of the ruck, tries a dummy. McGuinness back there. McGuinness looks for support out there to David Quinn. Can he do it himself? I think he may have got there. Has he scored in the corner? Yes, he has. Well, that surely has put it beyond doubt. A great break. Takiri certainly figuring heavily. Popped it out the back then to McGuinness, who looked on the outside to Quinn. And the kids are in the corner.
Just double-check the legs here of Quinn as he swings towards that corner post. I thought they might have gone to the video all the same, but the referee confident.
Big Michael Curry just pushed it out the back to Curry, then searching across the ruck, throws the dummy, finds somehow McGuinness. McGuinness then looks to the outside. I think they've changed the point of attack pretty well today, Toowoomba. When they have stood in tackles, they managed to clear that point fairly quickly, and perhaps his foot was just in the air at that
I think he got it down before any of his body was on the ground.
I agree with you, Warren, though. It probably would have been a good idea to go to the video just to be sure. That's what we've got it for.
Obviously, the touch judge said it was okay.
2 of the players who have been outstanding for Toowoomba were involved in the lead up to that as well, and that's Paul Carriage and Michael Curry, and they've certainly made some tremendous ground for Toowoomba today, and it was well finished off by another player who's had a good game, Damien Quinn. Can he convert that's his second try, isn't it, for the game? And now he's got to see if he can convert from the sideline, and all this time the clock is ticking away at Burleigh's season. It looks like Burleigh's season is over. Quinn, oh, it's a good kick in the conditions. It's a beauty. He's converted from the sideline. It's 34-20, 14 points in favour of Toowoomba. Only 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, you'd have to say that Burleigh has sunk now, but Toowoomba, they just keep coming back. Every time Burleigh threaten, Toowoomba come back and get that little bit of breathing space. Takiri moves very well after the initial pass from Curry, kept it alive and well picked up too. McGuinness out to Quinn, had a bit of work to do here, goes for the corner in the slippery conditions, gets it down, and a good try by Quinn. And really, it's just the problem for Burleigh is conceding the first 3 tries of the game. They were trailing 16-2. That was where it got away from them.
Toowoomba now, they know they're on their way to a grand final. Just short of the 40.
Still think Burleigh would like to have had another look at that Dan Kennedy try on the video rep. They'll be looking at that again later. But currently, you've got to say, Toowoomba 14 points ahead of being the better team.
So you think he might have been out, Warren?
No, not that one, the earlier one in the first half.
Yeah, sure. Okay, taken forward here now by Robertson. Takiri at dummy half. It's going to be an early kick coming up here from Steve Irwin. High in the air, more pressure on Chris Horsfall, but takes it well inside his 20. And well followed through by Irwin. Following his own kick and has come up with a pretty effective tackle on Chris Horsfall. Jimmy Lenihan now.
Of course, Jerry, the other interesting thing is if the Broncos happen to be knocked out this weekend, next week Michael Ryan and Corey Parker might be available for Toowoomba.
Well, another mistake from Burliegh, and that's certainly costing them now. Toowoomba will have the scrum feed just 20 metres out.
Feed this way.
It's a good point that you make, Warren, and also Damon Keating, you would think, would be back next week as well, so they'll be potentially stronger as the Broncos still alive, hoping for a couple of results to go their way.
Okay, in you go, Ned. Put it in.
Certainly Toowoomba now secure in having a replay of last year's grand final.
That's Brent Tate. Oh, good run. Just short of the 10-metre line. Damien Quinn at dummy half. Kirk Reynoldsson, he's played well. Taken just inside the 10-metre line. Can they finish it off with another try now? Tate swinging it across now to Damien Quinn. Oh, Murphy it was. So Nathan Murphy, there you can see how close he is to the line. Curry's in a dummy half. Duggan, almost through the gap. But beautiful tackle by O'Flanagan. He really has worked well in defence for Burliegh, and the penalty goes to Burliegh.
That was too quick.
Too quick in terms of getting up to play the ball, I would think, and a little bit of a chat. I don't know why you'd bother chatting with the referee now.
Billy Dunn coming on. I would imagine that being the veteran that he is, Billy Dunn's career must be
you can't carry on
close to an end.
Kicking the ball away,
that's like the last few minutes of his career, or whether he'll be backing up again next year for Burliegh.
Could well be swan song, and what a great career Billy Dunn has had, having played in Sydney. I think for your old club, Warren.
Yeah, had a few seasons with Western. I think maybe with Illawarra as well.
No, you're off, Mick. You're off, Mick.
Adam Cook.
Adam Hayden has left the field carrying an arm injury.
O'Connor onto O'Flanagan and across the halfway. He goes O'Connor. Good burst by the hooker. Couldn't find the support though. Ryan Gundry. Change of direction here for Horsfall. Oh, Billy Dunn had a chance of making a break. Instead it goes out wide there to Shaw. Mick Shaw can't get through. Loose ball. Referee said it went back, but it was dived on, of course, by Toowoomba. So Toowoomba, as we get close to the final minute, 14 points in front. It's Toowoomba against Redcliffe for the grand final next week. Ida Takiri stopping. Was looking for a break, couldn't find one, and all of a sudden they came to him. Billy Dunn, Shane O'Flanagan and Dean Allen, three big men coming forward in defence. Darren Ingram, 10 from halfway. Tony Duggan at dummy half. Is he going to try one of those runs again? Tried it, but Dean Allen made sure that he couldn't go anywhere at all. Ingram on the halfway.
Back we go, fellas. Hold it. Hold it.
Josh Hancock at dummy half.
Outside.
The kick coming from Nathan Murphy is a good one too. Linehan is able to keep it alive by thumping it back into the field of play. Horsfall, he can come across and link up with his man on the left, Dan Kennedy, but the defence has him well covered too. Good work by Damien Quinn. Man on man, coming up with the tackle. Still inside the 20, the Burleigh Bears. There's the full-time hooter. And the Toowoomba Clydesdales are in the grand final. Victors by 34-20 over Burleigh. Toowoomba against Redcliffe in our Queensland Cup grand final, which will be live, of course, next Saturday afternoon. But an impressive performance by Toowoomba against a Burleigh team that just kept coming back. You had to admire Burleigh. They wouldn't say die. They kept coming back at them. But just as they get the score within a chance for them to maybe win the game, Toowoomba would come back and kick away once more. So a wonderful final, really. There was some pretty good football in miserable conditions, and they're the statistics. The penalties favouring the Burleigh Bears 7-2. They had dominance in possession, and they also spent more time in the opposition territory. Their completion rate's nowhere near as good as Toowoomba, though. 34 from 41 as opposed to 28 from 41. Tackles similar. Too many missed tackles for Burleigh, and of course Toowoomba made a lot of line breaks. We can go down now to the man of the match. He's with Warren Boland, and it's Nathan Murphy. Warren.
Nathan, tough game, good to win.
Yeah, it was a tough game. We expected it. All semi-finals are, and they got a big pack, and we had to win today, so yeah.
You must have been pleased when you threw that dummy and got away through the pass to Paul Carriage, and he went in for the try. Just gave you that bit of breathing space.
Yeah, I was very happy because he put us 14 up again, took a bit of pressure off, and that was good. Yeah, I was very happy about that.
They are a tough side, but you played some real good football. The backs, a couple of those tries were quite spectacular.
Yeah, well, we know we can control it. We can score tries like that. The wet didn't help much, but still, it's good to be able to score tries like that in the rain. So.
Through to the grand final, up against Redcliffe, rematch from last week. How do you think you can handle them?
Oh yeah, it'll be a good game. It'll be a good, tough game like it always is against Redcliffe, and we're looking forward to it. It'll be good.
Have you played a grand final of this nature before?
Nah, not at this level. Nah. It'll be
all right. Wish you the best. I'm sure both teams are going to give a great account of themselves next week.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. Thanks, Warren.
Nathan Murphy, the man of the match, and the winning coach, Kevy Walters, is with David Wright.
Well, Kevy Walters with me. Kev, first year at coaching, straight into a grand final. It's pretty easy, this coaching, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know about that, but, you know, it's good with the way our guys bounced back today. We got pretty conventionally beaten last week against Redcliffe, and to come back today the way we did, there's real character in the side.
Seemed to be a lot more security there today. A couple of times last week, I thought the boys just went to sleep a couple of times.
Yeah, I think getting Casey Maguire back this morning, that was a real plus for us. He's a good guy to have around the team, and of course, coming off a loss, you do a bit of soul searching, and they come with the right ones this week.
And some good long distance tries. I guess the beauty of some players who can beat a man, but the backup was good.
Yeah, that was there last week too, but Redcliffe just scrambled pretty good on us, and we just couldn't get over the line. This week we got a couple over, and at half-time leading, we're sitting there quite comfortably.
Grand final week now is always a special week for players, as you well know. You played in plenty of them. Have you given any thought yet to how you might prepare them?
No, not really. It's exciting for the team, but we'll see what happens next week. We've got a huge task on us, but we'll see what we come up with.
You have your skipper back next week. Damon, of course, not there today.
Yeah, hopefully so. Damon had to miss this week with the doctor's orders, so next week we can present him with another game, hopefully.
What about yourself, mate? Any chance to still be lining up for the Bronx if they're there next week?
Well, there's no injuries in there at the moment, so I don't see a real need for me to be playing with the Broncos. Last night's performance was a little bit disappointing for them, but I'm sure they'll be back better next week.
Well, congratulations, Kev, and good luck next week.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Kevy Walters, the winning coach. So in his first season as coach, he takes his team into a grand final. They're 34 points to 20 in favour of Toowoomba over Burliegh. 2 tries to Quinn, 1 to Irwin, Maguire, Duggan and Carriage, with Quinn kicking 5 goals. For Burliegh, Schloss, Hayden Adamson scored the tries, and Burke kicked 4 goals. So 34 points to 20, Toowoomba victorious over Burliegh in an entertaining final in difficult conditions. And now we're down to 2 in the Queensland Cup, the grand final next week. And that will be one to well and truly look forward to. Can this young Toowoomba team put it together against the experience of Redcliffe on Redcliffe's home ground? And I'm sure plenty of the Toowoomba supporters will be heading down to Redcliffe to watch them in action. Toowoomba against Redcliffe in the grand final of the Queensland Cup for 2001. It's live right here on ABC television. Join us for that match.